like to tell you about my friend Michael. Michael is an interactive media studies major and graphic design minor from Miami University. He is immersed in digital art and technology programs every day. However, prior to college, Michael knew nothing about digital art jobs and didn't consider himself much of an artist. He took one art class and never thought he would make art for a living. Coming to college and being exposed to digital art changed his perspective a lot. It showed him he had the potential to succeed in the digital art field. Michael said it himself, technology classes in high school would have been crazy beneficial for him. I can relate because I also wasn't exposed to digital art until college, and now I love it so much I have an interactive media studies minor. For Michael, myself, and many other reasons, I strongly believe that we should integrate technology into the high school art classroom and take advantage of technological advances rather than choose to ignore the benefits for the sake of preserving traditional practices. Why? Because our world is becoming increasingly more digital, and so is the art that we are viewing. Not only do we view art digitally, but we communicate, share ideas, connect with each other, and make art digitally as well. There are three main reasons why I believe that we should integrate technology into the high school art classroom. First is that we should expose students to potential digital art jobs. Second is that technology builds skills in students that they can apply to other classes. And third is that it's totally inspiring and fun. My first reason is that we should expose students to potential digital art jobs. And many of these jobs utilize a spectrum of programs, which I've had the opportunity of working with through interactive media studies and my year in architecture. These experiences have largely complemented my art education career because it has allowed me to integrate technology into my teaching. Here are some examples of digital art that I've done in college. Now I'd like to tell you some examples of digital art jobs that you can tell your students about. For example, marketing and advertising jobs heavily utilize social media platforms for publicity. Some examples are Snapchat's Discover page, Instagram's use of photography publicity, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and Pinterest's use of photography and graphics, and YouTube's free reign of video production. Many of these jobs utilize the creative Adobe Suite products. You might recognize some of these examples are Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and After Effects. Some other jobs, not just social media digital art jobs, but graphic designers brand businesses with Adobe products. Animation artists use animation software and hand models to create clips and movies. Website designers use code writing programs to design and create websites. Architects use virtual buildings to create projects for architecture, and they use programs such as AutoCAD and Revit. And lastly, video game designers make virtual environments and characters using programs like Maya, ZBrush, Unreal Engine, and countless more. Now, these programs and positions may literally mean nothing to you, but your students should know that they exist. I'm not asking that you integrate advanced technology programs into your classroom. However, integrating any form of technology, even a simple application, will give students that experience, and it will allow them to adapt to technology every day. My second reason is that technology builds skills in students that they can apply to other classes. Being a digital innovator literally means that you are immersing in creative production and technical engineering. It allows students to make their imaginations real. You can teach students about computer qualities such as pixels, vectors, color spectrums like RGB and CMYK color spectrums for online and printing content, and also typography. All of these can be integrated into their traditional art as well. You can teach students business skills if they practice working for a client. And they can integrate these into their other classes. Students can create digital art portfolios to apply to colleges. They can make their own website. They can make video documentaries instead of a research paper. They can brand themselves for professional practices, and they can create computerized statistical graphics instead of handwritten graphics for things like math and science, and print them onto posters because it looks a lot more professional. My last reason is that it's totally inspiring and fun to use technology in the classroom. Teachers, if you have a website, Pinterest, or Instagram, allow your students to post on these sites. Students get really excited when they see their artwork online because they see themselves alongside contemporary artists, and then they see themselves as a contemporary artist. YouTube is also a great way to get kids pumped up for the same reason. Teachers, you might be expressing some concerns out there, such as, well, what about traditional practices? Well, we're definitely not getting rid of traditional practices. We're only integrating technology into the high school art classroom, just like any other subject. Remember that traditional art should always be the basis of any digital art project, and that when technology fails, you always have a backup plan. Well, what about my school doesn't provide the money for some technology? I would say that there's tons of free resources out there, free applications like sketching apps, video animation apps, photo editing apps, and you can utilize any of these resources. And if you can't supply a classroom full of computers, you can use iPads. And if not iPads, you can use iPhones. And if not iPhones, you could use one computer or one iPad or one iPhone, because not every student needs to be working on a digital art project at once. Codecademy is also a great free online resource that gives students the opportunity to learn how to code websites. This is free and it can be used outside of the classroom as well. And if you're still not convinced, I'd like to tell you that you don't actually need technology to integrate technology into the high school art classroom. Talk to your students. They know what's going on in the world. Tell them about responsible digital etiquette, like what happens when you share online. How can you best capture your work to post online? Teach them about composition and meaning through photography, and photography is also a great vehicle to talk about social issues. And lastly, explaining to students how to navigate any new environment will help them learn how to navigate new technological landscapes. This is problem solving. For me, technology has largely influenced my perspective on art. There are literally so many possibilities. I encourage you to challenge the minds of your students and open their futures, because just like Michael, your students will largely benefit from technology in the high school art classroom. Maybe one of them will be the next Pixar animator. Thank you.